In my last video, I went over the 35mm f1.4 G Master lens. I got several questions like, why would I choose a 35mm prime lens if I have a 35mm focal length in my zoom lens? Then I thought to myself, that's a great question. Why would you use a prime lens? Is it because you've been told primes are the best, sharper, better color reproduction? Then I thought, let's make a video about it and get to the bottom of this debate. I have here the Sony 24-105 f4 and the 35mm f1.4 G Master. I'm going to test both of these lenses at 35mm to see if you can tell which one is which. Here are the rules. The same shot will be done twice with both lenses at f7.1 and the same settings in camera. Here's lens A. Here's lens B. Go ahead and comment down below which one is which, and I'll pause real fast for effect. Now here they are, side by side. All right, before I go any further, let me get into my thoughts on the subject. A zoom lens is so versatile, especially when you do not know what you may be covering, like say a wedding or some kind of documentary. Getting a fast zoom lens like an f2.8, 16-35, or 24-70 can cover all your bases and give you everything you need. I use the 24-105 for a ton of my projects because of several reasons. It has a constant aperture all the way through the zoom range, much like the 16-35, 24-70, and 7200 at f2.8. It's sharp enough to get the job done. And in this case, the OSS, which is awesome. It covers me from wide angle all the way to short telephoto. It just screams versatility. And the lazy filmmaker in me wants to grab this lens every time I kit up for a shoot, even though I know there are better lenses out there, like the aforementioned holy trinity of zooms. This isn't a video about the 24-105 again, but it is hard not to mention this lens for what it is, and that's awesome. So this bears the question, why would I ever pick up a prime lens if I have the same focal length in my zoom lens? Well, 3 reasons really. Sharpness. Prime lenses will always be sharper all the way stop down, as well as through the aperture range. At f1.4, f1.8, or f2.0 aperture, in a prime lens, you will have way faster aperture, thus giving you better low light and better background separation at the same focal length. And they're smaller and lighter. The scale of a prime will always be smaller than that of a zoom lens. So there's a good amount of positives to a prime lens over a zoom lens. But if we flip it the other way around and ask why is a zoom lens better than a prime, we have equal amount of reasons why. Versatility. As I stated before, you can just walk out with one lens and get 90% of your content with it. It feels like cheating when you use a zoom lens with a fast aperture and OSS. Speaking of OSS, a lot of zoom lenses have OSS built into them, which is something you just don't really find in a prime lens. Tighter focal lengths at better prices. If I want, say, a 400mm shot because I am looking for a ton of compression, I would go buy a 100-400 for the full focal range because it makes so much more sense than buying a 400mm f2.8 for $12,000 versus the $2,600 price tag of the 100-400. The same goes for the 135mm prime. I would just go get a 7200 f2.8, even though it is more expensive. You have a lot more lens with the 85, 135, or 200mm focal lengths, all at f2.8 in it. So many of us beginners and pros struggle with the choice of zoom versus prime lenses. Some of us have developed skills with one or the other and swing that way. But it is important that we all remember that there's no wrong choice and that both will get the job done when it comes down to it. There may even be a reason you have to go with one over the other. Like say you need a specific zoom shot, or you need that small form factor of a prime for a gimbal shot with a heavy camera. Remember, these are tools and sometimes have specific applications. It takes time to realize which gear suits your style. Some people end up with a single do-it-all zoom lens, while others trust their prime lenses and refuse to ever touch a zoom lens. As you use your gear over time and start ironing out your skills, it really does not matter which one you pick, as long as it pushes your creativity forward. As always, I hope you got something from this, and make sure to hit that sub button, maybe like it if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.